The sky split open with a guttural roar, the kind that shakes your bones and sets your teeth on edge. A black helicopter descended like a vulture over Maplewood Heights, its blades slicing through the late afternoon haze, whipping up a storm of dust and chaos. Kids screamed half terror, half thrill as the beast touched down in the empty lot behind my house, a patch of scrubland no one claimed until that moment. I stood by my fire pit, the flames licking high, a cold beer sweating in my hand, watching the show unfold. The crowd neighbors, vets, strangers drawn by the noise gaped as my old friend Jack Hawk Delaney hopped out, decked in his marine dress blues, cradling a slab of ribs like it was a newborn. The rotor wash blasted my shirt flat against my chest, and I grinned, knowing this was about to get messy. Then came a shriek of banshee wail, cutting through the din. "You can't do this. This is a residential neighborhood." Margaret Hensley, HOA tyrant extraordinaire, shoved through the throng, her laminated badge swinging like a pendulum, her gray bob a tornado of fury. She didn't see the fire pit as a tribute, didn't care about the plaque glinting with my brother Tommy's name. To her, it was rebellion. She had no idea what she'd just stepped into. 6 weeks earlier, it was just me and the quiet. A Saturday morning, crisp as a new dollar bill, the air thick with the scent of pine and the promise of smoke. I'd spent months building that fire pit, nothing fancy, just river stones stacked tight, a steel ring buried deep, a nod to Tommy, my brother who never made it home from Kandahar. We met in basic, two scrawny kids from nowhere, forged in the crucible of war. He took a bullet on a dusty road 2 years back, left me with a promise. When we're done, Jake will build a pit, smoke some ribs, live like kings. I kept half of it. The pit was done, the smoker humming nearby, a rack of ribs slow cooking to perfection. I cracked a beer, leaned back in my chair, and let the country playlist roll. For once, the world felt right. Then the SUV rolled up sleek, black, too clean for our dirt road suburb. Out stepped Margaret, all 5'2" of her, visor stiff as a drill sergeant salute, clipboard clutched like a battle standard. She didn't knock, didn't wave, just marched across my lawn like she was storming a beachhead. "Jacob Reese," she barked, eyeing the fire pit like it was a live grenade. "This is a violation." I set my beer down slow. "Come again. Open flames are prohibited. HOA bylaws, Section 4C, Paragraph 3. No fire pits, no smokers, no uncontrolled hazards." She flipped a page, her pen tapping like a war drum. "It's controlled," I said, gesturing to the stonework, the extinguisher propped nearby. "Built it myself. Fireproof base. Safe as a bank vault." Her eyes narrowed, unyielding. "Doesn't matter. It's a visual contaminant. A hazard. 48 hours to remove it, or you're looking at fines. Daily." She turned on her heel, leaving me staring at the pit, Tommy's memory flickering in the embers. I'd walked through hell with him: sandstorms, firefights, nights so dark you couldn't see your own hands. No way was I letting Margaret Hensley snuff this out. That night, I sat by the fire with a tumbler of bourbon, the HOA rulebook spread across my lap like a map to enemy territory. I'd read it front to back when I bought the Placino fire pit ban anywhere. Then I found it, buried in the fine print. Clause 6.2, community gatherings and memorial installations. With notice and approval, you could host an event: cultural, historical, commemorative. A crack in her armor. Margaret might have banned pits, but she'd left the door wide open for a party. And nobody threw a party like Marines. Next morning, I typed up my proposal: Marine Corps Legacy Barbecue, a tribute to fallen heroes. I listed the menu: ribs, brisket, Corps on the Cob, added a guest list of local vets, and threw in a flag-raising ceremony for good measure. I even invented some jargon: Operation Smokeout, honoring valor through vittles to make it sound official. Margaret's approval came back within hours, a curt email greenlighting the event. She probably pictured a somber picnic, a few folding chairs, and a quiet speech. She didn't know Marines don't do quiet. I call Hawk, my old squad mate turned chopper pilot. "Need a favor," I said. "Big one." "Name it," he drawled, his voice all gravel and mischief. HOA war. I need ribs airlifted in. Maximum chaos. He laughed so hard I thought he'd choke. You're serious? Deadly. Count me in. The next 2 weeks were a blur of logistics grills hauled in on trailers, tents popping up like mushrooms, a marine jazz band booked on a whim. I rounded up the crew. Eddie Grillmaster Torres, a logistics genius who'd smoked ribs for generals. Sarah Klein, a wiry vet with a knack for crowd control. Even Old Man Pete, a Navy cook who'd once fed a destroyer with nothing but spam and grit. My garage turned into a war room, stacked with meat and coolers, the air thick with plans and cigarette smoke. Neighboring houses started buzzing. Tim Grayson, a shy electrician, rolled up with a keg of his homebrew. Mrs. Lila Carter, a widow who hadn't left her porch in years, sent over a tray of cornbread. Word spread fast. Maplewood Heights was about to get loud. Margaret circled like a shark, popping by 3 times to inspect. She sniffed for violations, her clipboard poised, but the pit stayed cold, the grills unlit. She left empty-handed, her scowl deepening each time. I kept everything airtight. Sheriff's office looped in, county permits secured, Hawks Landing zone cleared on public land, just outside HOA reach. She couldn't touch us. The night before, she made her last stand. I was polishing Tommy's plaque, his name etched in brass, glinting under the porch light when her SUV screeched to a halt. She stormed up, a neon yellow stack of papers in hand. This has gone too far, Jacob. Helicopters? Aircraft? You're turning this into a circus. I leaned against the railing, casual as could be. FAA approved. County cleared the field. You signed off on the event, Margaret. Clause 6.2. Checkmate. She flipped through her notes, flustered, then switched tactics. I'll be watching. One toe out of line noise. Trash. Anything in, you're done. She retreated, her heels clicking like gunfire. Dawn broke over Maplewood Heights, and the place came alive. Marines rolled in, some in dress blues, some in faded camo jackets, families trailing behind with lawn chairs and coolers. Vets swapped stories by the keg, kids darted through the grass, and the pit flared to life with Tommy's old Zippo, smoke curling skyward like a signal flare. By noon, it was a full-blown festival, guitars twanging, ribs sizzling, laughter rolling through the air. Margaret lingered on the fringes, her cronies in tow, scribbling furiously on their clipboards. She didn't have a prayer. Then the sky growled. Heads snapped up, gasps rippling through the crowd as Hawk's chopper crested the hill, a black silhouette against the sun. The rotors thumped like a heartbeat, kicking up a gale as it settled in the field. Margaret's badge flapped wildly, her visor sailing off into the weeds. Hawk stepped out, ribs in hand, and snapped a salute. The crowd erupted, the band launching into Sweet Caroline with a Marine twist. Margaret froze, her rulebook useless against the sheer force of it all. At 3 p.m., I climbed onto a crate by the pit, Tommy's photo in my grip. The chatter died down, eyes turning my way. This is for my brother, I said, voice steady. Tommy Reese. Duty was his life. Ribs were his love. We smoke him slow by pits like this, through sandstorms, through hell. He didn't make it back, but this is for him. For healing. For us. Silence held, heavy and real. Then a slow clap started, swelling into a wave. Hawk raised a flag. A lone trumpet played, taps, and for a moment, the world stopped. Margaret didn't stick around for the encore. She stormed off mid-ceremony, her posse shrinking behind her. The party roared back to life, blues rock cranking, kids tossing cornhole bags, ribs vanishing by the plateful. She returned an hour later with Fire Marshal Rick Dawson in tow, a smug grin on her face. "Shut it down," she snapped. Illegal pit. Rick, a lanky guy in a faded polo, took one look at the setup, extinguishers, permits, stonework, and shrugged. "Safest pit I've seen. FAA, clear the chopper. County okayed the field. You're good, Jake." The crowd cheered, drowning out Margaret's sputters. She slunk away, muttering about appeals. Hawk pulled a second landing later, dropping off another rack of ribs to a chorus of kids begging for rides. Margaret watched from her porch, powerless, her empire crumbling. By Monday, Maplewood Heights felt different neighbors lingered over fences, swapping recipes, planning potlucks. Mrs. Lila baked pies for the block, Tim fired up his smoker again, and the pit stood proud, a quiet monument to Tommy and the fight we'd won. But Margaret wasn't done. Tuesday morning, my mailbox overflowed with violation notices, excessive noise, unpermitted smoke, flags 2 high fines racking up to $500. Tim got hit for lawn disruption, Sarah for unauthorized beverage distribution. Petty, desperate shots at everyone who dared to join me. I could have laughed, but this was war on good people, and I don't back down. I called Brick Callahan, a Marine-turned lawyer with a voice like a diesel engine. "She's toast," he growled, already drafting a counterstrike. We rallied in Tim's garage, 20 neighbors, coffee and fury flowing. Stories piled up. Fines for flowerpot colors, Christmas lights past January. A birdhouse deemed structurally unsound. We launched a no-confidence votetwo thirds to oust her. Flyers hit every doorstep, signatures poured in, and Margaret countered with an injunction, claiming my cookout was a paramilitary incursion with weaponized meat. She had photos of Hawk's chopper, a wild tale about martial law. It was unhinged. The hearing came fast. Brick and I faced her in a cramped courtroom, her suitcase bursting with charts, no lawyer, just venom. She ranted for 10 minutes: conspiracy, chaos, choppers until Judge Elena Torres cut in. Evidence of lawbreaking, a mess. Hensley, Brick slid our permits across the table, cool as ice. "Dismissed with prejudice," Torres said, banging the gavel. "Read your own bylaws next time." Margaret stormed out, face purple, the vote tallying 87% against her. She vanished as Tim took the HOA helm. Fines erased, rules loosened. Maplewood Heights breathed free. We held one last cookout, no choppers, just grills and guitars. Tim unveiled a new plaque for Tommy. "For those who stand, let no fire fade." Tears hit, applause rose, and from the shadows, I saw Margaret watching, her rain ash. Tommy's pit burned on, a beacon of community reborn. If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.